For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you guys a bit of a very exciting new product review video on a brand new Coleman tent. So with me here I've got the Coleman Weathermaster. So the Weathermaster is a name that is a bit of a throwback, something that was a very, very successful and a very well-known tent from Coleman, going back probably about 10 years ago. This is kind of the same concept and for some really new exciting features built into this model, which you certainly haven't really seen before on the market. So this kind of sits very much on par with kind of the new Valdez XL range and the sort of original Valdez that Coleman do. Comes in three different sizes. So you've got the 8XL, the 6XL, and finally the 4XL. With me here I've got the 8XL. We've done our own sort of independent video for the 4, just because it's a little bit slightly different, but you can always check out that on our website or via our YouTube channel. Overall, what Coleman are really trying to do is bring fresh and new ideas to the market, and that's what you certainly get with this. So they're basically, the most feature probably we get asked about is mainly their blackout bedrooms. They're the only brilliant company who make tents who do that blackout bedroom, and when we talk blackout we mean completely blackouts. It means assures you get a good night's sleep and not wake up at the crack of dawn, plus the fact that you've also got a bit more of an internal temperature difference as well, so it helps to make it a bit cooler on a warm day or a bit sort of, well, warmer on a cold day as well, so it's the best of both worlds. It uses the classical kind of 75 denier fabric, about 4,500 mil high stay head, so very, very waterproof. And actually I think the new kind of colour of the green looks really nice and sharp. That sort of twinned up with the sort of grey panelled roof helps to allow a bit more light to come into the actual tent. And then sort of, again, a little touching tone here, I think just helps it really nicely. Generally you've got really nice big PVC windows to allow plenty of light to come into the tent as well, but you've got curtains which zip up on the inside to get that level of privacy. Each individual beam is done on its own and uses their high sort of pressure valve, the same kind of valve you find on sort of high-end dinghies or other manufacturers as well. So it's very much tried and tested, and yet again, because you've got a nice big button with a sprung-loaded button, it gets the air in and out quite happily. You can see how quick, simple and easy it really was to pitch this tent up on my own. So I pitched this model on my own about 12-13 minutes. So have a look at our own Attwoolls pitching and packing video on how that went, which means because it's a big 8-man tent, you can only for 12 minutes put it up, means you can take it away for a week or a weekend, and yet again one person can do it solely on their own. So if one person wants to entertain the kids or keep them busy while the next person puts tent up or weathers the storm, it's really simple to do that. Throughout a tent, like I said, you've got sort of your main core kind of features. So you've got sort of high visible guy lines, you've got an aluminium brow pole to give yourself a rain safe canopy door in and out. Beautiful, nice big mesh panels, not only in the side door, but also in the middle door into the awning area. Ventilation throughout the tent is a very key thing to certainly help fight condensation. And yet again, big nice mesh panels beneath the windows give you high ventilation. Obviously the mesh, and at the back there's a really nice big open mesh panel as well to really help the airflow through the tent. One thing that's also very unique sort of to this particular model as well is the fact you've got kind of like condensation runoff points. So at the bottom corner of most of the windows, there is a little kind of a little bit of a gap. What that does allows you certainly all the condensation to normally find its lowest point in the tent, so it can come onto the windows, come down out the little kind of flue until the exhaust, and then get outside of there. So it doesn't mean that you've got to always sort of find it at the bottom of the tent or at the beam. Naturally, you tend to have a bit of condensation in the beam anyway because it's under pressure. But it just gives you that little bit of help to kind of relieve that issue. You've got all the points are located through these kind of little flaps. So each one's done individually, like I said. Nice easy access point, and the valve system's just there. And then when you're done, you can also just zip them up. Nice and easy. You've got colour coordinated pegs, and yet again, big, nice, strong webbing straps, every single point pretty much along the bottom, so you can get really good tension and make sure that you can adjust it as sort of the time's slacking off a little bit. You've got your kind of rain little skirt, which is quite nicely, helps the rains run off. It doesn't actually sort of affect, well, by going underneath the tent as such. On the front, you've got obviously a real nice big enclosed front awning. That's certainly something back, if we look at, say, like the original Valdez, had a sort of fiberglass open front, and you didn't have really the ability. Admittedly, it was really nice and sort of good depth, but you are very much exposed. So this is completely inflatable. You've got storm straps at the front and back yet again to give you that bit more level of security. And the fact that you can actually enclose that front panel means that you've got more versatility. So you can actually sort of leave your stuff on the campsite in there quite happily, or if sort of weather does turn, you can zip it up and just give you that extra level of shelter. There is obviously in the front door sort of 3 main positions, obviously fully shut, half open, or fully open. That sort of helps make it feel like a really nice big open canopy. You've got 2 zip pullers, so you can actually open up the top part as well. Allow a bit of airflow to come into the tent as well, just to kind of keep all the kids and everything else safely locked away. And also all the toggle points, you've got a point where you can hold it back so you can leave it in position. Around the front sort of side here as well, down the back channel, like I said, we've got a nice big vent, but in due course what I will do is pick the camera up after we've had a little look inside and talk through a few more features that the Weathermaster has to offer. So let's have a look at what's these. So now we're inside the Weathermaster, you can kind of get certainly an idea for the 3 main zones you've got in the tent. So you've got obviously your sort of main awning area, a very generous living area and a sleeping area right at the back. So we'll sort of start from the front of the tent and work our way back throughout it. So having that kind of enclosed front sort of awning area, like I said, gives it an extra bit of shelter away from everything else. It means you can happily put more like a some sort of cooking unit out here, have the door open, and so you've got ventilation. But that's kind of what this area is designed for. Even that, on a nice day, roll that door fully back like we've got at the moment, put a couple of table and chairs in here, and then you've got a sort of sheltered area to there. And if the weather does turn, it doesn't really matter. You can buy a footprint for this model, and it pretty much goes the whole length of the main body, and there's a separate footprint again for kind of the front area sort of toggles up, so it makes that sort of bathtub kind of feel to the actual tent itself. Now what you've also got is pretty much a no sort of step in and out of the actual tent as well. So when you go from the awning area to the main living area, you've got a complete flat runway. It zips down or zips up, so you've got the security that you can have a get weather tight and then not have a trip hazard as well. So that really works well. What also is the zip itself is sort of reversed round. There's a little plastic kind of PVC bottom on the underside of the zip. Now that's protected from getting any sort of mud or dirt in the zip and ruining the zip. So that works really smartly as well. As we talked on the outside, ventilation is key. So in the front panels between the awning and the main living area, you've got these mesh windows to allow circulation to come through, as well as the ones we saw above the windows on sort of, on that left and also the right hand side as well. The 6 is exactly the same model as this in terms of width wise. Main difference is obviously it's down to the actual depth, and that's more in the living area than any other area at all. The bedroom area is exactly the same. Main difference obviously between the 6 and the 8 is the fact that you don't get included the additional 2-berth bedroom in there. The main living area, actually, to be fair, is one of the most generous on the market. I struggle to find a tent that, certainly when you remove the bedroom section anyway, that you've got this much internal room in one single section. Maybe if you open up certain models, the divisional door to the awning area, but then you're sacrificing kind of your sort of wet area before entering your nice clean and dry area. The inner bedroom, like I said, because it's an 8, comes supplied with it, so it's a 2, 2 and 2. The bedroom inside here is also a 2-berth as well. But the main thing that makes this kind of different is that it's kind of, we'll call it reversible. So you can kind of put it on the right hand side or pull it on the left hand side, and there's pre-points done. The 6, with it being a smaller depth in the living area, you don't have the ability of buying an extra bedroom or putting a bedroom inside of it. Then you have to look more down the lines of freestanding bedrooms. If you just want essentially a nice big 6-berth tent with more internal room, by all means, to be fair, even out of the 8 person, I would remove the stuff in the bedding area out, put it in the kind of the sleeping area at the back, and utilise the internal space. So if I take this bedroom down, so if we take that down, straight away you can see how it kind of opens the tent up a little bit more, and you can expose these kind of nice windows here. So we saw from the outside that every single window sort of externally in the main living area has a nice big PVC. You've also got curtains which zip up as well, so you get that sort of level of privacy as and when you want to. So you can kind of bring it up halfway or go fully up, and you get really nice coverage. It doesn't quite cover the mesh panel, but it gives you the fact that you've got circulation and also the privacy at the same time, so you can kind of choose your level. Alternatively, just unzip that down, rolls back, and because there's like a little bit of a lip, you've got a bit of a storage pocket there as well. On the left hand door you've got a full mesh door as well, and because also that's got the rain safe canopy, on a rainy day if you want to keep that front completely sealed, you can walk in and out of there and not have to worry about the water coming down off the tent and into the main body. So that's kind of your rain safe door. Generally, and also not only have you got, when you want to use a blank door, there's a mesh panel built in here yet again to give you that circulation of air. Now you can see obviously how big it is. At every single point on every beam in the tent itself, you've got a hanging point for a lantern, so you can hang a lantern on every single point. Yet you've got ultimate amount of flexibility to kind of give yourself, a point for hanging points. You've also got things like little Velcro tabs located at the top down here, just leading yourself down to cable entry points, so it means you can have the mains cable linked up, or if you want to use like a flexible light to follow the curvature of the beam, that works really well. So you've got one ventilation point down on this side, one cable entry point on that side, one cable entry on that point, and then in many ways you can kind of use the sort of beam points as cable entry if you really wish to. So the thing obviously that Coleman are renowned for and very different is kind of the blackout system. So the blackout inners are a completely revolutionary thing. It can be as broad as daylight in there. You can zip yourself in, albeit close all the panels, and it's completely pitch black. And also the benefit is also the temperature difference. So on a daytime, what you find is inside the inner tent itself, it's going to be about 5 degrees cooler than it would be if it wasn't blackout. On the flip side of that as well, what you've also got, it's going to be 4 degrees warmer in the morning when you wake up, basically because the heat on there gets stored kind of in the fabric and it doesn't radiate off as much. So it's the joys yet again is sometimes not only the light that wakes you up, but it's also the temperature difference. Getting that chill in the morning sort of wakes you up and then you can't get back to sleep again. So this is all well and designed to sort of make you sort of stay longer in bed. You've got sort of like a 2, 2 and a 2 at the back here, and there's a zip divider between all sections, so it feels like a separate 2-berth inner. Because it's zip dividers, you've got the flexibility that you can actually unzip these completely back, roll it back, and have it as one big nice open 6-berth, or a 4 and a 2, 2 and a 4. You can really kind of put it as you want to. Other things that we'll pick the camera up and go through in a minute is things like a cable entry point located on each of the bedrooms, so you can actually have the mains or hang a little light located down there. The bedroom actually, beneath it, you've got like a mesh part here. It's very similar to what Attwoolls did probably about 5 years ago. It gives you a sort of physical hanging point, but spreads the weight of the tension, so that way you don't have a single bit of, a lot of strain going for a single point. By doing that, also it flows the bedroom really quite nicely, and just means that generally it's going to last a bit more and not sort of have much wear and tear. Other things that make this particular difference in comparison to, say, the Valdez XL models is the back ventilation system. So you've got a nice mesh panel located in the inner tent here, and there's a zip located in the actual bedroom itself on each of the bedroom sections. What this actually allows you to do is access the back vents, open up, and can close it from the inside. And again, that's all zipped up, so it means that if it's raining, you haven't got to or you get cold, you haven't got to go outside the tent to close it all up. You can do it quite happily from safety from in the bedroom, or if you want to use the visibility again, you can open and shut that at your own discretion. So that's a really good little feature as well. Storage pockets located in the front help you sort of declutter the tent, put things like keys or sort of books, or just mainly keep it all neat and tidy. We'll pick the camera up now and have a little bit of a wander around the tent to try and get a bit more of a feel for the size of it, but also the unique features that you find in this model. So here we go. So I say with that big open door, you can see obviously the benefit of having that sort of flexibility. As we go sort of into the main area, you've got a sort of pre-angled beam, and that sort of gives you good coverage, especially at height level. And that's one thing actually I've yet to mention is the height for a tent is pretty darn decent. So I'm about 6'2", you can start pretty much everywhere, including the bedrooms. So you've got a flat doorway in and out the tent, so you haven't got to worry about tripping in and out. And then, like I said, for space-wise in the living section, you won't find many with this kind of bit. Admittedly, the 6 obviously is a base smaller, but I mean, for the difference in price between the 6 and the 8, you know, why not pay a little bit more, have the extra room, have the extra bedroom, and then it works really nicely. You can see, you can sort of happily look out left and right. You okay, Arch? And then you've got that rain-safe canopy door located there. In the front of the inner bedroom as well is a mesh panel built in, so you can actually control, if you don't want it to be sort of too dark, you can actually control how much light you got into there. So the kids are a bit scared, that's a good way of doing it. You've got these rain-safe sort of pullers are located at all these points as child-safe, so if for any reason a child needs to get out, it's a halfway point that you can easily do so. That's just obviously the zip dividers, and the sort of the actual mesh panel at the back allows you to get kind of the ventilation that you need. Little storage pockets are located on the side over here, and even in the actual bedroom section you've got a cable entry point at a lower level, so it means you can charge things like your phones quite happily. And yet again, little tab there, and even a hanging point for a lantern inside the main body of the unit. So it's all these features. You see how kind of dark it is in here, and that's sort of again the benefit of blackout. Low level ventilation located beneath the window to help with circulation of air, and then again you've got your things like your little points for hanging a lantern, and your cable entry points down there as well. But overall, really quite a model, and we'll go on the outside and look at the back vent system actually as well. So you've got your storm strap front and back, rain safe canopy door, and the back section you can see this nice big vent. So you've got the flexibility of opening and closing that as and when you want to, so you can actually flow air quite happily in and out. There's a zip located, so you can use it either as a vent or actually as, like I said, an access point to allow a bit of light in. But overall, as you can see, there's a lot of features built into this model, and I think actually for the price point it's at, generally, you know, it's quite good value. And there's certainly stuff in here like the things like blackout which make this kind of unique to anything else. Last but no means least is the frontal mesh door. So the door between the two sections, you can actually, you've got a full zip down door there as well. So again, that works really nicely, and what you can also do, which makes a quite a difference, is that zip actually combines with that zip, so you can get a real nice mesh fronted part. And because the living area on certainly the 8 is, you know, quite ample, well, very ample, and the 6 is quite ample, you know, that's kind of going to work as your sort of frontal mesh door for the circulation of air. And yet again, because you've got that also front awning which you can obviously open and close, it's gonna, with a bit of rain or shine, you can still actually have that kind of mesh point still in place. There's my tab, there it is. But it's one model we're certainly going to have on display at our indoor showroom, so if you want to see it in the flesh, or certainly see, you know, a difference in terms of blackout in the flesh, which I can very much recommend, pop into our shop in Weathermaster. You can see us on display and get a real grasp for the actual tent as well. But that's kind of our Attwoolls video review on the new Coleman Weathermaster, the 6XL, and also the 8XL as well. For more information, by all means, look in the link below. It'll take you to our website to see the current price we've got on this at the moment.